Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reassured that his government would ensure equitable development across all regions of the country, with no area left behind. Tinubu said these in Kaduna at a two-day interactive session on government citizens engagement organized by the Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. The president also said the minister's interaction with stakeholders at the event would unveil empirical facts and figures that the North is not neglected. To commiserate with the Benue community, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, has donated the sum of 1 billion naira to victims of the recent Yelwata attack in Benue State. Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndire reports that during the condolence visit to the state, Senator Tinubu described the killing as tragic and entirely unnecessary.
About 6 weeks ago, the Yelwata community in Guma local government area of Benue State suffered a deadly attack that left hundreds dead and thousands displaced. Today, the Nigerian's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, visits the state to commiserate with the victims. Her visit converged at the new banquet hall of the government house in Makurdi, where she met with key stakeholders and announces a 1 billion donation on behalf of the Renewed Hope Initiative.
Nigeria is blessed for a reason, and having diverse ethnicity, religion, culture is meant for a reason. We will say Nigeria is more like a mini America, that you have different people coming for the growth of that land. I believe that diversity is supposed to help us to grow as a people, not to destroy us. So for me, hope is not lost. We heard you, and I believe my sister, the First Lady of Nasarawa State, has heard as well. And we will take the message back home. And we pray, and we know that our security chiefs, they are doing their best. And maybe for me coming here is for them to hear again, for the nation to hear again.
In his welcome address, Governor Hyacinth Alia, while appreciating the visit and show of empathy by the First Lady, renewed his call for the establishment of the state police to better address security challenges.
Decentralized, locally rooted policing structure will greatly enhance intelligence gathering, swift response, and accountability. It is time for us as a nation to embrace state police as a practical and necessary step towards securing lives, property, and peace across the nation.
Also speaking, the chairman of the Benue State Council of Chiefs and Dotiv, His Royal Majesty, Professor James Ayate, called for the immediate flushing out of terrorist elements from Benue and neighboring Nasarawa states.
Most of our attacks take place in the communities that are close to or share boundaries with Nasarawa State. Yet Nasarawa State is not under the same spate of attacks. The Nasarawa State Governor himself has publicly raised alarm on the influx of terrorists into his state and his helplessness in dealing with the situation as the Chief Security Officer of the state.
He also called on the federal government to provide adequate compensation to the victims, enabling them to rebuild their lives and safely return to their ancestral homes. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global TV News.
Still in Benue, the President's Nigerian Bar Association, AFAM Osigwe SAN, has expressed concern over Nigerians' high terrorism ranking and growing food crisis due to displacement. The association's president stated these at the North Central Security Summit 2025 in Makurdi, Benue State capital, noting that the urgent need to address insecurity in Benue State is a call for peace and legal reform. Again, Felicity Diri has more.
Gotta keep right on searching till I find.
The North Central Security Summit 2025 was held in a resounding call for peace, accountability, and legal reform. The President Nigerian Bar Association, Afram Osigwe San, says the summit will help to discuss policies, legal reforms, and community strategies to improve security and justice with the goal of promoting peace and stability in the region. He emphasized the urgent need to address insecurity, referencing recent violence incidents in the state.
Some of the killings we witness are reported to arise out of crisis, ethnic crisis, farmer header crisis, and we thought that having a conversation around this theme and talking about strengthening our security architecture would go a long way in stemming the tide of this unlawful killing.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, represented by Air Commodore Olufemi Akinsanya, affirmed that the Nigerian military will uphold the tenets of the law with respect to human rights. Professor David Ikoni and the representative of the traditional rulers, His Royal Highness George Ede, highlighted security lapses while stressing the importance of citizens' involvement in intelligence, vigilance, and trust building with law enforcement.
Nigeria challenges in security are multi-dimensional. But despite this aggravation, but conscious of our own mandates, we rest assured that the armed forces of Nigeria will continue to execute assigned tasks in accordance with the rule of law, especially human rights and international humanitarian law.
They get them arrested initially, and maybe by the time they take them to court, some technicalities in the law will free these same people. And by then they have known that these are the people that have pointed fingers at me and others. That means it makes the communities and their leaders more vulnerable and more insecure.
Governor Hyacinth Alia called the summit timely, citing security challenges in Benue and urging judicial reforms, and expressed hope for lasting solutions.
I am confident that we will not only diagnose our problems, but prescribe practical, implementable solutions that will transform the security landscape of North Central Nigeria for generations that follow.
Under the theme Strengthening Security, Rule of Law and Justice Delivery in North Central Nigeria, the three-day summit convened by legal experts, government officials, security personnel, and civil society leaders from across the region.
The Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Engiwa, has urged stakeholders in the housing sector to intensify efforts to tackle Nigerians' housing deficits, which currently stand at more than 23 million units. The minister made the appeal during the 19th edition of African International Housing Show held in Abuja. Ubong Usoro has details.
The Minister of Housing, Ahmed Daginwa, has called on developers, builders, and professionals in the built environment to prioritize affordability in their designs, decrying the growing housing deficit in the country. He stated that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to addressing housing needs of Nigerians through various policy reforms and public-private partnerships. He added that the government is also creating an enabling environment for affordable and accessible housing delivery across the country.
But let us be honest about the biggest elephant in the room. Already Professor Jerry Gana has already identified it. The biggest challenge in the room is the challenge for affordability. Across the continent, the housing deficit is not only a question of supply, but also access. Too many people, even if when housing is available, simply you cannot afford it. Incomes are low, not only in Nigeria, but across Africa. That's why the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR is focused not only on building houses, but also on fixing structural and macroeconomic foundations that will make housing affordable and sustainable today and in the long run.
The minister emphasized the need for innovative building solutions, the use of local materials, and cost-effective designs to make housing truly affordable for low and middle-income earners. He reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to collaborating with developers and other relevant stakeholders to bridge the housing gap and improve the standard of living for Nigerians. Ubon Usoro for Global TV.
The former All Nigerian People's Party (NNPP) has called on President Bola Tinubu to ensure that the vice presidential seat is made sacrosanct for the ANPP bloc within the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Coordinator of the party, Vitalis Ajumbe, made the call while addressing journalists in Abuja. Kike Lomo Okeri reports.
The All Nigerian People's Party, which is now a major bloc within the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), is calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that the vice presidential slot is reserved for the ANPP bloc when the party fields its candidate for the 2027 presidential election. The coordinator of the party, Vitalis Ajumbe, emphasized that the move will reaffirm the significance of political inclusion and uphold the spirit of equity and power sharing within the APC coalition.
Vice presidential seat. The Association of the former NPP members hereby calls on our president, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure that the vice presidential seat is made sacrosanct.
He added that preserving the vice presidents for the ANPP bloc will not only strengthen internal democracy, but also maintain balance among the party's legacy group. The ANPP is one of the three legacy parties that merged to form the APC in 2013. With political realignment already taking shape across the country, this latest demand is expected to stir fresh conversation within the ruling party. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has hosted a post-election follow-up and need assessment mission for the Economic Community of West Africa State Network of Electoral Commissions in Abuja. The mission seeks to evaluate Nigerians' implementation of recommendations from the 2023 general elections. Anita Patrick has the rest of the story.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, received a delegation from the Economic Community of West African States Network of Electoral Commissions, ECONEC, on a post-election follow-up mission in Abuja. Led by the head of Liberia's National Elections Commission, Devita Brownie Lasana, the Ghanaian's Deputy Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Bosman Asare, the team is in Nigeria to assess progress made on recommendations issued after the 2023 general elections. Professor Yakubu says ECOWAS made 37 recommendations, 13 addressed to INEC and 24 directed at other stakeholders including the National Assembly, the Nigerian Police, civil society organizations, and media regulators. He confirmed that Independent National Electoral Commission had acted on all recommendations within its administrative capacity while awaiting legislative action on others.
Of these recommendations, 13 are addressed to INEC, while 24 require action by other institutions and stakeholders, such as the National Assembly, the Nigeria Police Force, the National Broadcasting Commission, the National Information Technology Development Agency, civil society organizations, the Nigeria Union of Journalists, and political parties under the umbrella of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Furthermore, the follow-up mission will also interact with the National Identity Management Commission.
He noted that the Commission's detailed response, along with the 2023 election review report, is publicly available on its website. He commended ECOWAS and ECONEC for their consistent support to electoral integrity in the region and appreciated development partners. The leader of the delegation from ECONEC and head Liberia's National Elections Commission, Devita Brownie Lassana, while commending the INEC chairman, noted that the visit is a peer-to-peer review on its reports of the 2023 general elections to see how well Nigeria has implemented it as a way of lessons learned.
Peer-to-peer review of our presence here during the 2023 elections, but more importantly, the recommendations that we proffer, which were outlined in a report of our visit here. We've come to see how best INEC has implemented those recommendations, and we anticipate that during our engagement, we may be able to understand reasons for some of the issues that came out of the 2023 elections.
The follow-up mission is expected to engage key institutions including National Identity Management Commission as Nigeria continues efforts to strengthen its electoral system. Aniette Patrick, Global Television News.
The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission says it has fixed Saturday, August 30, 2025 to conduct local government elections across the state. The chairman of the commission, Michael Odi, announced in Port Harcourt while unveiling the revised timetable for the elections. The new date marks a shift from the previously scheduled August 9, which was set by the former chairman of the commission, led by retired Justice Adolphus Enebeli, before the declaration of emergency rule in the state. Ahead of the National Assembly by-elections in Edo State, the state's chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has called for the immediate removal of the resident electoral commissioner, Anubun Onua. Chairman of the Edo State PDP Caretaker Committee, Anthony Azimbemi, made the call during a press conference in Benin City, where he stated that the commissioner allegedly acted in a compromised manner during the last governorship election, leading to a loss of confidence in his neutrality. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has fixed August 16 for the by-election in Edo's Central Senatorial District and Ovia Federal Constituency to fill 2 vacant legislative seats vacated by Monday Pebble and Dennis Itahosa, the state's governor and his deputy, respectively. Director General of the Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, said Nigerians must embrace safe and ethical technological innovation to tackle food insecurity and climate challenges in the country. The Director General made this known at a sensitization workshop on genetically modified organisms, GMOs, for the members of Nigeria's Islamic community. Anita Patrick has the details.
According to the Director General, National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa says the workshop aims to bridge the knowledge gap between modern biotechnology and religious understanding thereby enabling informed perspectives that support national agricultural development goals. According to him, with Islamic teachings emphasizing food safety and wholesomeness, it is essential that any biotechnological advancement aligns with Sharia principles of health, dignity, and well-being.
And let the people know that this crop has no harm. Let the people know that this crop is something that when they use is going to bring a lot of fortune in terms of mitigating the problems of climate change, in terms of bringing wealth, creating wealth, because when you use it, you are going to harvest high yield.
Meanwhile, the Director Agric Biotech Department, NAPDA, Dr. Rose Gidado, says the goal of agricultural biotechnology is to increase crop yields, improve food quality, and reduce the environmental impact of farming, ultimately contributing to global food security and sustainable agriculture.
Productivity and health through genetic improvement, disease diagnosis and then prevention, nutrition and then feeding strategies, and then improve farming practices such as precision agri, soil conservation, and then efficient water use. So the goal of agricultural biotech is to increase crop yields, improve food quality, and then reduce the environmental impact of farming, ultimately contributing to global food security and sustainable agriculture.
Speaking on behalf of the Muslim community, the secretary to the chief imam of the community, Abdullahi Nuhu, commended the government agency for the capacity building and the work put in tackling food insecurity in the country.
We will at all points in time support you spiritually.
The high-level engagement brought together religious leaders, scientists, regulators, and civil society groups in a bid to bridge science and faith. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Victor Osimhen to undergo medical ahead of Galatasaray move. Details coming shortly, plus sport and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Welcome back. All is set for Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen to travel to Istanbul. Osimhen is scheduled to undergo medical tests with Galatasaray as his transfer enters the final stage. The Turkish champions had already agreed a deal with Napoli for the 27-year-old. That's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and StarTimes channels 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms, now showing on your screen at Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu saying thanks for watching.